Right, hello and welcome back to our Counters series. Today we're looking at the Nightline. This will hopefully be a little bit shorter than my other videos. But this is the Nightline in front of us. Oh yeah, P.S. My personal goal here while recording this video is not to say So let's see how many times I can avoid, or how many times I say it. So here we have the Nightline and his evolutions. The Knight becomes available in Castle Age. He is over here on the far left. In the middle, we have the Cavalier, which is the upgrade in Imperial Age, the first upgrade in Imperial Age. A lot of cavalry civs will have him, but not all. But not all. Yeah, all cavalry civs will have him. Not all cavalry civs will have our big friend at the end here, the Paladin. Paladin's expensive and the upgrade's expensive, but he is an absolute workhorse tank. You get 30 Paladin, 40 Paladin together. What's going to stop you in Age of Empires? Not very much. Alright, the upgrades for them are, well, the first two, the armor and the attack. Armor is up here in the top left hand corner. Both of these are available in the blacksmith. So armor is going to be important for avoiding archer fire in particular for the knight. We'll come back to that later. We've got our attack upgrade, which is our orange friend forging here. And that's going to give the knight a little bit more punching power, which is very useful, especially, when he's punching. Both of those are available in the blacksmith. And each new age, so feudal age, you have two of them. Castle age, you'll get a new armor, new attack, and in imperial age, you'll get the ability to research those again. Dang it, I'm saying Next up, we have bloodlines. Bloodlines is available in the stables, and what it does is make your anything that's mounted, all your mounted units, it will make them more tanky. It's going to give them more health. They can take more hits. They can survive fights a little bit better. Very useful technology to have. And finally, here are headed horses, horse heads. Is husbandry also available in the stable, like bloodlines, and that is going to make your horses move faster, which is useful for getting into and out of fights, taking the fights when you want to. First up, we've got the militia line, and as you remember from our first counters video, the knight is just a bigger, heavier militia on a horse, and he is going to hit harder and take more damage than the militia line. And he's more mobile. This is the reason why the militia line has gone well out of favour with the pros. The knights get to choose when they take that fight, so when they've got good numbers, they'll take the fight. If they don't have good numbers, they won't. And they can go off and raid easily and then run away when the enemy comes to find them. They're a very mobile, big advantage. They are better than the militia line for several reasons, including in a straight up fist fight. Like you put it one on one against each other. The knight will win. However, he is more expensive than the militia line, and that is with the knight you're getting something good, but you are paying for it. Light cavalry is the little brother, and big brother beats little brother. Light cavalry is a little bit faster, so it can avoid the big fight with the knights, but the knights will win. You need a bunch of light cav to beat a knight. I'm going to go with like 4. I feel like that's a good number. Any less than that, I wouldn't even try. It might even be 5 to take on a knight. Terrible idea. I've tried it in games, didn't work out well for me. Alright, next up we have got the skirmisher. Skirmishers are only good against ranged units, archer units. That's where his bonus damage is. He doesn't punch very hard against anything else. He needs that bonus damage. A knight, you'll notice, does not carrying a bow. He is carrying a melee weapon. He is going to walk through the skirmishers. If you see your opponents playing into skirmishes and, it's the start of Castle Age, build 1 or 2 knights. Why go into like a whole effort to upgrade your light cav? Just buy these big tanky boys and let them run through the skirmishes for you. They can kill them all day. Like, they're not going down. Well, they're not going down quickly anyway. Alright, mangonels. Mangonels and siege units. Scorpions, blacksmith, not blacksmith, I want to say battering ram. So mangonels, scorpions, battering rams. These are siege. They hit hard, but they move slow. And once you get into a minimum distance, generally they can't hit back. They can't hit you. So knights are very good at this. They can close that gap quickly. So they take fewer hits from these boys. And then the mangonels, the siege, they cannot escape. The scorpions, they cannot escape. Knights, very good. Let's say, again, you're playing into archers, and you've got a big ball of archers, and you see some mangonels. Fall back. Make a knight or two. Send them in. The knight can tank a couple of hits from anything your opponent has, and probably still take out the mangonel. Very useful utility unit there. Knight, very useful. Beats mangonel. Good job, knight. Crossbows. Yes. This is a mess. So archers against knights. Knights, in a one-on-one fight, of course the knight wins. He's a big tanky boy, and the knight is a glass cannon. The knight is a glass cannon? I mean, the crossbow is a glass cannon. However, when there's enough glass cannons together, they can hit hard enough to take out the tanky boys in one shot, especially if the knights are missing armor. So numbers become a big factor. If there's enough archers there to be dangerous, the knights start having to avoid that fight. They have to run away. If the knights have the second armor, the castle age armor, now they can take those fights a bit better, because that armor, I forget what the actual math is, but it helps out significantly. The rule is, if you have the second armor in castle age, your knights can hang out underneath town centers and get hit by those arrows, and they're not going to melt. They're going to stay there, kill all the villagers, and if you have enough of them, they might even take out the town centre. But they can hang out under fire, and that is a very good skill to have. Very good ability to have if you're fighting a group of archers. So if you don't know if your knights can take that many archers in a fight, get the extra armor upgrade, then take the fight. And another good strategy, like wherever his ball of archers is, he's going to be sending reinforcements into that ball of archers. You'll often see the pros just, send a knight or even a light cavalry actually, and try and cut off the reinforcements that are coming into that big ball of archers. Yeah, so, and just to keep the numbers down, because crossbow is annoying. Are we on camel here? Wait, where's camel? There we go, camel. So, sorry, my screen's acting funky. Camel versus knight. Now, from memory, this fight plays out. The knight can win it with just a sliver of health left. Now, this depends on the which civilization is making the camel, because some civilizations have bonuses where the camels have extra health or an extra attack or whatever it is. But the knight can just win that. However, the camel is significantly cheaper. So in terms of punching power, and once they snowball, if it's two camels versus a knight, it's not close. The camels crush. So yes, the knight can win the 1v1, but no, after that, it's not going to be a good time for the knight at all. So camels are going to counter knights, because in a group, if it starts to snowball once they've killed one knight. If they get a numbers advantage, that matters a lot more for them. And B, because they're a lot cheaper, so even if it's like you're trading evenly with them, the camels are much less expensive in the long run. Therefore, the player making the camel can invest more into his economy and make even more camels. Now the camels have the numbers advantage; they overwhelm. Yeah, you don't want to be fighting into camels with knights. Your knights could be a meat shield if you really need them to, but you don't want to be fighting into camels with your knights. Monks is the other natural counter to knights, especially at the start of Castle Age. Knights are so strong at the start of Castle Age. They kill anything from feudal, and anything other than a knight at the start of Castle Age is going to need an upgrade, basically. Not an upgrade, it's going to need numbers. Even like the camel's going to need some upgrades. Spoilers, the pike is going to need some numbers. Did I say upgrades for the camel? I meant numbers. However, the monk does not. So if you know your opponent is making camels, if opponent is making knights, or if you know your opponent is making knights, or you're making knights and they know about it, you might run into monks. Yeah, monks is the counter. So early Castle Age, oh no, my enemy's coming with a whole bunch of knights, slap up a monastery, hide behind the walls, as many walls as you've got, or hide some monks in the TC. and then get them there. Once you got a couple, 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter, start trying to convert the knights. And now the knights have to fight each other, and you didn't put any money into them, and they have to fight each other. And it's such a strong counter that very recently, we're talking months ago, the developers of Age of Empires dropped in a new tech, and it is not called Faith. Faith is the Imperial Age version of this technology. This is called Devotion. So up here above in the top left-hand corner here, next to the knight's face, that is the technology. It is found in the monastery. So if you're playing into knights and you see some monks, you need your own monastery. You need to buy that tech. What that technology does is increase the time it takes for a monk to convert you. The time it takes for a monk to convert you is like a randomized period of time, but this technology will push it up both ends of that random range by like a second. I think it is. Might even be 2. I think it's only a second though, but that's very significant. When there's a knight riding down on a monk, like that extra second could be the difference between the conversion or killing the monk. So buy that tech. Alright, we have the spearman line next. The spearman line and the pikeman line, and now this is where things get very controversial. A while ago, I forget when, the pro player Hera, I think is he considered the best in the world now? He's definitely considered to have the best form in the world right now, but maybe not the greatest of all time sort of thing. He said, very controversially, knights counter pikes, and was a little bit ridiculed by some relatively big names in the Age of Empires community. Because Spearline is good against cavalry. That's what it does. Huge bonus damage against anything that's mounted, anything on a horse, anything on a camel, anything on a elephant. That's what its area of expertise is, and they get huge bonus damage there. So Hera, pro player, saying that knights counter spearmen, counter pikes, I should say, blew people's minds. But he was talking about a specific way of using knights. Knight goes in, fights spearman or pike. He can win those fights one-on-one comfortably. Then you pull the knight back with his remaining health and you take him to his best mate, the monk. So, that's why I got a picture of a monk down here. Monk will heal up your knight's health. Yeah, great. And now it's like he spent those resources to build his spear, build his pike, and now they're gone for very little benefit. Yeah, and your knight can go back and attack and kill the next pikeman. So pikemans need numbers to take on knights. They need it. They need a group. So they need a group of pikemen to take them on. You need numbers. A whole lot of pikemen versus a whole lot of knights. The pikes are going to trade way better, and eventually, because they're so much cheaper, they heavily counter the knights. But in early Castle Age, it is a bit more of a mess. So it comes down to numbers and micro. Yeah, I don't have the micro, or I haven't tried to have the micro. It's not a strategy I've tried to pull back my knights and get them healed by monks. I haven't played a cavalry civ for a while, actually. I might go back into that. I've been just obsessed with my Incas. Off topic. But the longer it goes into Castle Age, and the bigger the armies get, the more pikes will counter the knights, and the more you will need a long-term answer to your enemy's pikemen. Often that will be mixing in a different unit type. All right. However, unlike spears and pikemen, halberdiers 100% counter cavalier and paladin. The halberdier, interestingly enough, was brought in because the paladins were wrecking games. Like they just win. Whoever got to paladin first gets a bunch of paladin. They just win. There was no strong counter to paladin because the pikes, the bonus damage, I want to call it like 12, 18 bonus damage, whatever it was that the pikes had, wasn't enough to take out the paladins, and the paladins just walked through and took out whole bases. So this is a long time ago. This is like Age of Kings, I believe. They brought in, I might be wrong, don't quote me on the timeline. Point is, they brought in a new upgrade for the spearman line, which is halberdier, and he gets so much damage against mounted units that he will actually counter paladins now. So yeah, if you see halberdiers, don't take that fight. It's not going to be worth it. Everything's too expensive. He's going to win. Yeah. I'm not sure in low numbers what happens because all the units you can see on the screen right now are made in Imperial Age, and generally in Imperial Age, people aren't just starting out, making one or two of these things. They've got big economies and they can flood the map, or they already had large armies and they get an upgrade to really, power spike them. Yeah, so, yep, halberdiers, 100% counter the heavy cavalry. Cav archers. Cav archers is a complex thing. Generally speaking, the Cav archer will win against the knight, but once again, in low numbers. The knight is very, very tanky. Starting in Castle Age, if the knight can stand there and just trade blow for blow with a cavalry archer, the knight's going to win that fight. Problem is micro. Cavalry archer runs, maybe the knight gets in an attack, and meanwhile the cavalry archer's got in 3 or 4, depending how good your micro is. There is even the possibility if your macro's expertise, if you have expertise in micro, if you're an expert in micro, the cavalry never gets to touch you at all. The knight never gets to touch the cav archers at all. They're just too fast. So knights lose to cav archers. Cav archers is a bad matchup long term for knights. Often it becomes a raiding game for the knights to try and get in there and do some damage. While you hope your other unit takes care of the cav archers. Did someone say elephant? Someone said elephant. Battle elephants. Battle elephants, a bigger, heavier knight. Slower though. In a fight, 1-on-1, this is a tank v tank battle, and the elephant wins it because he's the tankier tank. He's very expensive though. Yeah. Battle elephants are going to beat knights. However, they are more expensive, so there should be more knights. And knights are also more mobile, so why would they even need to fight a battle elephant? Just, make some camels or make some halberdiers or spearmen or pikemen or whatever you've got and get that bonus damage working for you. Or, those sorts of things. The knight doesn't have to take that fight. He will lose it. Use your mobility. And that is why the pros love knights. So the two big lines that the pros play is the archer line, because they can kill anything. You get those in enough numbers, you keep them alive, they basically can kill anything. The knight line is the other one that they love because it's tanky, it wins fights, and it's very, very mobile. It can go and raid and kill things and run away, and then go and raid and kill things and run away, and choose the timing of when you have the fight. Sure, you're making a whole bunch of halberdiers, but I'm not going to fight you until I've got 20 crossbows behind me. Yes, now we will fight. And you kill all the spearmen before taking that fight, yeah? So the pros love it for that reason. Knight is very good. It's one of the cool ones. I would advise beginning players play into knights because you don't need to babysit them like you do archers. Archers very fragile. They take, you look away for 1 second and they've walked under a town centre and you've lost 6 of them. Never happened to me. Same for mangonel shot. You look away and bam, a mangonel popped out and killed half your archers, and then you return just in time to see bang the other rock come and kill the other half. Terrible. Whereas a knight can survive those sorts of things. You don't need to babysit them as much. Sometimes you just need to tell them to, come home, heal up, and then send them out again. A good civ. I know Franks are very, very popular for playing night civs, and they're very, very strong. They get basically bloodlines for free. They get a bonus that's the equivalent of bloodlines, and then they don't get the bloodlines. That's a good civ to play. My preference for new players, you know who you are. You know who I've told. You know who you are. Cough, cough, cough. You know who I've talked to about this. Is actually to do Magyars. The reason being that the attack for Magyars comes in free, and if you want to get any benefit from that bonus, you're going to have to go forward with your knights out into the scary darkness and use that attack, and that's what you should be doing with your knights. If you have a few knights, don't have them sitting at home, send them out into the darkness. They are strong, tanky units. You're not going to lose them. They're fast enough to come back home again, and they're probably going to win whatever fight they have out there in the middle. So yeah, Magyars would be my advice. Yes, Knights, great. I love Knights. I should play Knights more. Maybe I'll make a run with Knights of Berbers as my Knights of in the past, because they get nice cheap Knights. So then I can get numbers as well, and numbers is so important. I might do that a little bit later, make some videos. Anyway, for now, I think that's all I have for Knights. Is there another slide? No, there is not. I hope that is useful for everybody. Yeah, if there's anything you'd like to know or any glaring things you think I've missed, let me know and I will fill those things in. Yeah, thanks very much.